Good morning and welcome to the Daily Connect. My name is Raymond and I'm so glad you could be a part of this time together, looking at God's Word, seeing where the Lord is leading us and who the Lord is calling us to be. Today is Monday. Wow, we are at the start of a brand new week and we're fast approaching the end of October. I can't believe how quickly this year is going by. But right now, right this moment, we are going through the book of John, or the Gospel of John, written by the Apostle John. And we have been learning a lot about who Jesus is. What is Jesus saying about himself? And if you've been following along, I mentioned that there are seven I am statements that Jesus makes, and these are really big statements, very bold claims that he's making, especially to the ears of the first century readers, the first century audience. So let's take a look at these I am statements, and if you've been following along, if you've been counting, let me know what these I am statements that we are coming across today is. Is this number 5, number 8? Yeah, although I know I've already mentioned that there are only 7 statements. But do you remember? Let me know either in the live chat or in the comments below if you're watching this later. God bless you guys for joining this early in the morning while it's the sun is just starting to peek out. Good morning to you, Rich, Joanna, Jeanette, Missy, and everyone else who's watching this live. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving the best part of your day over to the Lord. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's do the usual actions to influence the YouTube algorithm. And with that, let's dive right into John chapter 10. John chapter 10. Today I titled it Good Shepherding. Good Shepherding. How the Master shepherds. John chapter 10, starting from verse 7 all the way to 21. Let's take a look. Starting from verse 7. So Jesus again said to them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. All who came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep do not listen to them." So, looking at this, we see yet another I am statement. What number is this? Do you know? Share your thought in the live chat if you happen to know, or in the comments if you're following along. But here, Jesus again, we're continuing this conversation, or at least we're watching this continuing conversation that Jesus is having. There are people gathered around. This is probably not too long after Jesus reconnects with the blind man that he had healed, and people are just marveling at what Jesus is saying. And earlier on, just prior to this, Jesus was talking about shepherd and the thief and robber, and there's a distinction between the two. Here, Jesus now describes himself as the gate. I am the door. I am the gate, depending on your translation. And basically, all who came before, not so far as Moses or Abraham, but all are false teachers. Do not listen to them. The sheep don't listen to those false teachers, to those religious leaders. When they hear the voice of God, when they hear God, they will know. And here Jesus is saying, I am the gate. And everyone else prior to me, they're not leading in the right direction. So again, apart from Moses or Abraham, they're obviously, when they spoke, they're following their laws, their word given to them by God. And here, Jesus takes another bold step in saying that I am the door of this sheep pen, this metaphor that he's using. Let's continue. Verse 9. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved, and will go in and out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. There's that famous statement there that you'll hear me say oftentimes, John chapter 10, verse 10. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. This is one of those I am statements that I really hope people grab onto. This is basically to say the shepherd not only provides that security to protect the flock while they are in the pen, but they also are provided sustenance. Because Jesus here is the gate. The gate leads into the areas where they can find food, and so here the shepherd is not only providing security. He is also Jesus also describes himself as the gate that leads to being able to take care of oneself. The thief, on the other hand, his intent is not the well-being of the flock, but rather he has the intent of bringing harm to the sheep. Verse 11. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. Once again, we have another I am statement. What number is this? Do you know? But Jesus now, not so much as shifting gear, but to point out that as the shepherd, he lays down his life for the sheep. And here, when we look at the word good, it's the Greek word kalos, as in good. There's this genuine quality to it. There's value. It's precious. That's the type of good that we're talking about here. So I am that genuine shepherd. I am the real deal here, and the real deal lays down his life sacrificially for the sheep. It's a supreme sacrifice when you think about it, especially when you think of this as kind of a foreshadowing to what Jesus is going to be doing. He would lay down his life for all people that are called to have a relationship with God. Verse 12. He who is a hired hand and not a shepherd, who does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees. The wolf snatches them and scatters them. He flees because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. So now, in a sense, we have a fourth character that's introduced here. We have the gatekeeper. The one who sleeps at the gate, or who stands at the gate, and it could be the shepherd, but typically there's this one role of the gatekeeper. And then you have the thief that is mentioned, the thief or the robber. Then you have the shepherd, and you also have the sheep, obviously. But here there's this hired hand that does the role of a shepherd, but in a sense is more of a manager and not an owner. If we were to take it to a modern day context, the hired hand is not to be associated with the thief, but is to act as that foil, that contrast to the shepherd. The hired hand, he does not lay down his life. He only merely wants that paycheck. He wants the pay. He's only there strictly for the work, but he would not lay down his life to protect the sheep. The expense is way too high for him to pay. And it kind of reminds us here: are we in that same way when it comes to our ministry, the ministry that the Lord has called us into? Are we merely a hired hand, or do we truly own it? Right? If the good shepherd modeled it in such that he lays down his life, do we not do the same? Verse 14, I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. Now, if you've been spending time with me in Bible studies and whatnot, one of the things that you'll want to key in on here is the word know. What is it in the Greek? This is the gnosko knowing. This is the knowing of that intimacy. I have experienced that type of knowing. So there's this intimacy in the relationship between God and the sheep, or really the shepherd and the sheep. There's this intimacy between God and the Son, and obviously there is also this intimacy between the Son and really his the people that he has called to, and more importantly, the sheep also has that gnosko knowing of the shepherd, or in this case, Jesus. Do we have that intimate, experiential knowledge, understanding of who Jesus is? Have we experienced his miracle? Just like what this blind man experienced. This blind man from John chapter 9, he gnoskoed Jesus because he experienced the healing firsthand. We can never give up our lives to Jesus in the same way he did for us. But there are ways that we can do so for one another, for each other. Again, he modeled it for us. Can we model it for others? Can we live it out for others? Verse 16, and I have other sheep that are not of this fold. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice. So there will be one flock, one shepherd. Now, one question we may be asking is, who is this other sheep? Are these the non-Jews? Are these the more specifically the Gentiles that are referred to in Acts when Paul ministers to the Gentiles? Regardless, Jesus is speaking. Excuse me. We have to remember who Jesus is speaking to. He's talking to probably a whole group of Jews, and probably there are probably no Gentiles in this group. And so, as Jesus is speaking, he is ultimately saying there's going to be unity amongst the people that he calls, and it's going to extend outside of the Jewish community here. Verse 17. For this reason the Father loves me, because I lay down my life that I may take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay down of my own accord. I have authority to lay it down, and I have authority to take it up again. This charge I have received from my Father. This is a very big statement here. The concept of substitutionary atonement here is at the center of this gospel here. Jesus' sacrifice, his sacrificing his life, is not because he had no control. It's not because the Jewish leaders finally got the upper hand. We hear Jesus often saying, "My time has not yet come. That hour is not yet here." And then finally, later on, what we'll encounter, he does say, that time is now, my time is now. What Jesus points out here, that it is of his own accord. This is according to God's plan. This is not according to the Jewish leaders. Finally, we've got him. Finally, we've trapped him. Finally, we have Judas on our side. No, that has nothing to do with it. This is part of God's larger plan of laying down his life for each and every one of us. Here, the Father loves the Son. Therefore, the Son lays down his life, which provides a model for believers to follow. I think it's important. The love aspect cannot be overlooked here. The reason why Jesus was lays down his life is because of love, because of the love that he has for, as a shepherd has this love for the flock. So God has that same love for each and every one of us. Let's wrap this up. Verses 19 through 21. There was again a division among the Jews because of these words. Many of them said, "He has a demon and is insane. Why listen to him?" Others said, "These are not the words of one who is oppressed by a demon. Can a demon open the eyes of the blind?" This right here, it's so interesting. The more Jesus speaks, the greater the division between people. And when you think about it, the gospel is divisive. It does cause division between people. When you come face to face with the truth, you have to make a decision. Do you accept this truth or not? There's no gray area that you can stand with regards to the gospel. Do you believe it or do you not? Living it out, that's quite another element there. But ultimately, it comes down to the starting point. Do you believe in what Jesus is saying here? There's, again, two I am statements that Jesus is making. I am the door. I am the gate, depending on your translation. And I am the good shepherd. What numbers are those? Do you know? Let me just wrap this up with my conclusion here. My big takeaway here is the greater the intimacy with God, the clearer his voice will be. I cannot escape that word gnosko in the context of the good shepherd here. Jesus is saying that there is this intimate relationship between the God the Father and the Son. There's this intimate relationship between the Son and those that he call. And the sheep has that same gnosko, intimacy, experiential understanding of the shepherd as well. Do we have that? And I believe that the greater that intimacy that we have, the tighter the relationship that we have with Jesus, the clearer his voice will be. Amen. Once again, thank you everyone for joining and sharing this time together. And if you've been following along, what number I am statements are these? Do you know? If you guessed numbers 3 and 4, you are absolutely correct. So we had I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world. Here we have I am the gate, or I am the door, and also I am the good shepherd. These are the 4 I am statements so far. And there's just a few more to go, and we'll cover those as we continue through the book of John. Did you get it right? I hope so. All right, with that, God bless you guys. Thank you so much for following along and sharing this time together. God bless you. Looking forward to seeing you all soon. Take care.